We have our heading.
Here we go!
From the magic within our hearts to the adventure beyond the horizon, there is only one Disney. Imagine a magical world.
Impossible.
Of home entertainment.
Allow me to shed some light on the subject.
Where the movies look sharper, the stars shine brighter, and the action feels closer. Where the titles you want and the games you play are beyond anything you've ever seen. Only on Disney Blu-ray.
I'd give my left two lug nuts, something like that.
It's the ultimate cinematic experience with superior full high-definition picture and superior full high-definition surround sound. You'll always have the best seat in the house. Advanced pop-up menus let you interact with disc features without leaving the movie.
Excellent, excellent.
Blu-ray's protective layer resists scratching and promises superior performance over longer periods of time. And the innovative blue laser technology offers 5 times the storage space of a typical DVD, which means more space for more cool content.
Whoa.
Also, with existing Blu-ray players, you can still watch all your favorite DVDs.
You're mad. If I wasn't, this would probably never work.
It's not just a dream. It's Blu-ray. Everything is better when you bring it home in blue.
Listen well, all of you.
You know the classic story. Now watch it come to life in a way you've never imagined.
What is it? Come on, let's find out.
It's Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty.
Come along now. We must tell their majesties at once. On the day she was born, I cast a spell upon her that before the sun set on her 16th birthday, she would prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel.
From this slumber you shall wake. When true love's kiss, the spell shall break.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine has transformed this immortal tale as if it is being told for the very first time. Prepare to have your senses awakened and experience the high-definition event of the year. Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty, for the first time ever on Platinum Edition DVD.
Make it blue.
And Disney's first ever Platinum animated film, released on high-definition Blu-ray disc. Coming soon.
It's an adventure too magical to miss.
Walt Disney Pictures presents.
What is this? It's new.
After years of waiting, finally this fall on special edition 2-disc Disney DVD and for the first time ever in high definition Blu-ray.
I am the Pumpkin King!
From the mind of Tim Burton, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Fantastic!
An amazing high-def picture of dazzling colors come to life.
I feel so much better now!
Like you've never seen it before.
Excellent, Tigger.
With wondrous high-def surround sound, you'll feel the thunder of this bone-chilling experience.
They're celebrating! Ah, you're joking! You're joking! I can't believe my ears!
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. There's children throwing snowballs instead of throwing heads. They're busy building toys, and absolutely no one's dead. There's frost in every window. Oh, I can't believe my eyes. And in my bones, I feel the warmth that's coming from inside.
My dearest Jack.
Sally.
This year, Christmas will be ours!
Bone, the masterpiece full of surprises. With never-before-seen bonus features.
Open it up, quickly!
And what did Santa bring you, honey?
Ho, ho, ho!
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Eureka!
For the first time in high definition, only on Disney Blu-ray and on 2-disc Disney DVD. Coming this fall.
In 1969, NASA discovered the secret to time travel. In 2008, it will be perfected by 3 unlikely heroes.
Please tell me I don't look as ridiculous as you do.
Now, the future may be history. A Disney Channel original movie, Minutemen, starring Jason Dolly from Disney Channel's Cory in the House.
Isn't that what Minutemen do? Undo mistakes?
And only on DVD, an alternate ending you have to see to believe. Plus, go back in time and behind the scenes with the making of the Minutemen.
It's a blast.
I knew it was gonna be a fun shoot.
A Disney Channel original movie, Minutemen, now on Disney DVD.
The Frog here to introduce one of the most wonderful and entertaining shows that... one and only moi! Oh, hi there, Piggy. I'm sorry I wasn't actually introducing you. I was introducing The Muppet Show.
Starring moi!
Well, yes, that's true, but that's not what
I'm trying to give this thing some star power, Frog. Watch and...
Well,
For the first time ever on DVD, The Muppet Show Season 3.
Hey, 3 to get ready.
The complete 3rd season of the groundbreaking show that's been a worldwide sensation for over 50 years.
Open the curtain!
With 3 times the fun.
Tonight we have one of the sexiest ladies alive. You got that every night, Frog.
3 times the music. And 3 times the explosions.
How soon can you get me the fire department, huh? That soon, huh?
Relive all 24 episodes on a 4-disc set, now digitally restored and remastered. With so many fantastic bonus features, you won't be able to look away. Bring home the comedy show for the whole family.
He's homesick.
How can he be homesick when he's right here sick?
The Muppet Show, Season 3 4-disc set. Now available to own on DVD.
Well, they say all good things come to an end.
What's that got to do with this show?
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Disney's original classic continues with the new The Jungle Book 2 Special Edition. When he finds that he misses his friends, Mowgli returns to the jungle for some swinging fun.
Listen to the jungle. Yeah, the jungle.
Sounds like a wolf pack way in the distance, singing pretty harmonies. Woo, 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 to the jungle rhythm.
It's full of fun, great songs, and non-stop dancing.
Use our incivility with W-I-I-I-L-D.
With Baloo and some friends your family will love.
Come on, Mowgli!
Including a fun new game, music videos, and more. Catch the jungle rhythm in Disney's The Jungle Book 2, coming to Disney DVD Summer 2008 for a limited time only. Walt Disney Pictures presents The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning. Discover the story you never knew.
There's more to this place than meets the eye.
How one daring mermaid transformed an entire kingdom.
Come on, Sebastian, let's go.
That girl is working on my last claw.
When a friendship was formed.
My name is Flounder. Woohoo!
And how music came alive. The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning. An all-new movie on Disney DVD. Coming soon. And you can watch a sneak peek today by logging on to littlemermaiddvd.com.
Have you ever wondered how nature gets its glow? Who gives it light and color as the seasons come and go? The secret is, it's all the work of fairies. And And within a special place called Pixie Hollow, fairies of every talent practice their magical abilities and prepare for the change of seasons. But one day, a very special fairy would arrive with a magic like nothing they'd ever seen. You know her name.
Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell?
Tinkerbell?
Now, discover the story of the world's most beloved fairy. How she came to be, found her place, and changed her world forever. Tinkerbell, an all-new movie. Coming soon on Disney DVD and Blu-ray.
Every day during this special celebration, we prepare to make your dreams come true in ways you've never imagined. Come live your dream during the Year of a Million Dreams going on right now at the place where dreams come true. Visit DisneyParks.com.
We built a top driving rig, which means you drive from the top of the car so the principals can sit inside that and be driven everywhere.
It's a roof driving rig that we call the pod. It's a new thing for me. I don't think there's many that's been built. couple in the States, in LA.
GK Evolution produced this car with a top rig. They call it the pod. It's a little bit top heavy, a bit like driving a tractor because you're much higher up. So actually it's quite useful for parking, reversing, those sort of things. Great visibility. You get to see all around 360. Handles very well, and it does everything that the character needs to do in the film.
The steering and also the throttle, gear selection is all disconnected. So anything that the person in the driving seat attempts to do will not affect the movement of the vehicle. It's all down to the stuntman. It just makes it a lot safer, doesn't it, for the actor?
No, that's a pretty heavy payload inside that car to be looked after.
The driver drives and the actors act, and that works really well.
Okay, what you're going to see are deleted scenes. Why were they deleted? Who knows? Sometimes it's because the movie was just too long, we had to speed it up. Sometimes it's because it doesn't quite work. Sometimes you want the movie to be funny at that part, and you don't need a dramatic scene. Sometimes you need a dramatic scene, you cut out the funny scenes. As long as the movie's working, yeah, cut it out, make it shorter. But it breaks your heart. You have so many people who worked on these scenes. Sometimes an actor's entire role gets cut out, which means the actor doesn't get residuals, his name's not in the credits, kills you. Sometimes you build extraordinary sets. You spend a fortune on visual effects, and artists do an amazing job. It gets cut out. I hate to say it, that's showbiz, and the reason sometimes movies aren't good is because they don't cut these scenes out. So here they are, like them or not. What do you do when you have 20 minutes of a movie that you realize you could cut out if you just put in a little 2-minute scene? Movies are too long. Movies need to be shorter.
As if the clues ever do make sense. They never make sense. None of this makes sense.
Sometimes there's things in those scenes you need. In this film, we thought, okay, what do we do? How do we get around the fact that there's this clue about a hummingbird and all that?
I don't see anything that even remotely resembles a hummingbird.
Maybe it was better in this sequence, which was really great. That really brought in Harvey Keitel, the FBI. How is Ben pulling these shenanigans to get this clue about the hummingbird? How does he get rid of Mitch? Then Mitch gets along with it. They find, oh my Lord, it was really long. It was great, but it was just too long. So we found a way to shoot a little tiny scene that replaced this entire section.
Don't see anything that even remotely resembles a hummingbird.
That kind of looks like a turtle.
A hummingbird, the Earth, the moon. Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
As if the clues ever do.
I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Did Mom say anything else?
Well, of course, she had to remind me of all the sacrifices she made that I didn't.
Sacrifice?
Because she was the one who stayed home with you when you were a child.
That's right.
Son, I can't change the past.
No, that's right. That's where the hummingbird comes from. It was a story she would tell me when I was small. A Lakota myth about the hummingbird, Tanahela, the spirit of sacrifice.
And she gave me a false clue to send me on a wild goose chase?
No, she wouldn't do that. She knew the information was for Ben, not for you.
Why that story?
She's trying to tell us something. In the story, the hummingbird sacrifices itself to save the Earth and the moon, which it believes is its family.
She's the hummingbird. Release the hummingbird. We go.
Hello, Dr. Gates. I thought you might be calling.
Put my mother on the phone.
That's good to hear from you, too.
Put my mother on the phone.
Hey, buddy, you're not really in a position to give me orders, you know? But since I'm such a nice fellow, here's your mother.
Ben?
Mom.
I'm fine. There's one final clue that only Wilkinson knows.
It's enough of that.
You gotta do something.
Yeah, but what? We're not exactly armed or dangerous.
I've got to turn myself in.
What?
Translation in the second half of the plank says we need to find the big cat.
Benjamin would have found it by now.
I don't think so. It doesn't exist anymore. Cougar Peak was destroyed during the first phase of construction. We got to get to the highest point. This is the only way up.
I'm Section Chief Peter Sadusky, FBI.
We do not talk.
You are under arrest for the illegal capture and detention of Dr. Emily Appleton. Isn't that correct, ma'am?
Yes, that is correct.
You can put your hands down.
Mom,
Ben!
you're okay.
I knew you'd figure it out.
You turned yourself in, huh? Smart move. No wonder the feds are here.
What have you done this time?
Your son kidnapped the President of the United States.
You know, sir, I'm oddly proud that he pulled that off.
Understandably.
So, Wilkinson. He has the final clue, doesn't he?
Yes, he has a letter to the Confederate General, Pike.
From the Queen of England.
How do you know that?
How did you know that?
Can we talk alone?
Uh-oh.
I took the book.
Tell me you didn't take that book.
Well, why don't you call the president and find out?
You know I can't do that.
You release me and Wilkinson. I'll tell you where I put it.
You know that book's the one thing I can't take a chance on losing. If I let you go, how do I know you'll tell me the truth about where it is?
You're the FBI. If you let me go, how long is it going to take for you to catch me? I'm getting caught either way. But this way, you get me, the book, and probably the City of Gold.
I wouldn't untie Wilkinson if I were you. Now tell me where it is.
Look out. Harney Peak.
I'm fine.
I am sorry, Mother.
Thank you, all the same.
Sir, not to question your methods, but didn't we come here to arrest Ben Gates?
You'll get to that OBE.
Right.
What's OBE? Overtaken by events.
What events?
Oh, thank goodness.
Emily, I'm so glad to see you. Well, I'm sorry I got you into this mess.
I believe the last time you said that to me was the night before our wedding.
You got your whole family here.
Yeah, I do.
So glad you're safe.
Thought the idea was to get him arrested.
Just so we're clear, you touch one of them, I'll kill you.
I'm just looking for the treasure, Ben. Just like you.
Let's go.
Hey, Abigail. How are you?
It's okay.
Sir, if we asked what was going on, would you tell us?
Nope.
So, we're on Harney Peak, sir. Now what?
I loved this scene when we shot it. This was a really great moment for Justin Bartha as Riley to do something really fun. He ad-libbed a lot in this scene, and it's really there to explain how he's able to gain access to the Buckingham Palace computers. When you see the scene, you'll say, okay, that's a good scene. Why'd they cut it? But when you see the movie, you say, oh, boy, I didn't even realize it was missing.
Oh, heavens. Oh, heavens, no.
Yeah, those CBCX Pro 3200s can be pretty pesky when the system version doesn't match the user upgrades.
You know computers?
Not really. Well, yeah, a little. It's a bit of a mess, but I think we could handle it. I'm gonna fix it up so you never have to come down here again. How's that?
Oh, thank you.
You understand, the Resolute desk is in Her Majesty's private wing. Not even I am allowed in there.
I understand. Thank you for your time.
Of course. Nasty business about your ancestor.
It's not true.
Of course it's not.
During the escape from the Library of Congress, this scene was awesome. It was something we really wanted to show. It's not that easy to avoid Harvey Keitel and the FBI. Ben gets stuck. He gets on the roof. He finds that the roof where he's going to go is surrounded by that sharp spikes they used to keep birds off it, and he has to walk across a glass ceiling. Big tension, big nervousness, a lot of suspense. When we made the movie, we thought, pace, pace, pace. We don't need this, keep moving. So it got cut out. But a lot of really good work and a lot of good special effects work went into making this scene.
Stop. Now, Pete, I have been going over this and over this in my head. I feel so sorry for putting you in this position. Ben.
Don't make me shoot you.
Ben! Really, where are you going?
I used to date a librarian here.
Was it cool?
This is a scene that everyone said is never going to make it into the movie, and didn't. We knew we didn't need it, but we had time in the day to shoot it, and they had built the set. It's really a cool idea. And the truth is, when you're making the movie, we didn't know how long it was going to take and how complicated we needed to make John Voight, Helen Mirren's journey to find the City of Gold, how many steps they'd have to go through. So here's one additional step they went through that you never saw.
Be careful on these steps, they're shallow.
Look, it's a tomb. All those people.
No other exit. This must be a door.
Patrick?
Yeah? Someone's tried to open it.
Excuse me. Here. Let's test it. Not that one. Okay. Here. Look at that.
That's it.
Okay, this scene is actually in the movie, but the whole scene isn't actually in the movie. Here's a case where I got to let the actors just do what they wanted to do. We found what parts we thought was the most dramatic, but there were some really funny moments and some really grown-up moments that I thought might have been good. It didn't make the movie, but they're on the DVD.
Just give me some room, okay? I'm all the way over as far as I can go.
You were just like this in bed.
What?
You were just like this in bed.
Oh, my God.
The first National Treasure, we were following these characters, and you've already fell in love with them. Now we're bringing you back the same characters in a much more difficult situation, a much more adventurous situation than we put them in the first movie.
Get that door open so we don't all die!
When we were making National Treasure, I thought this is either going to be a disaster and my career's over, or it's going to be a success. If it's a success, we better start planning a sequel right now. It's the kind of movie you make sequels about. It's treasure hunter, you can always go look for other treasure. When we released National Treasure, it was a brand new movie, a whole new franchise. That's why you're thrilled to do a sequel, because you have an entire first movie as the commercial for your second movie.
First film, us as storytellers, were kind of trying to figure out how to work within the genre. And now we can even up the ante in the second one to make it much more difficult to find these clues. And that's what took us off on this adventure halfway around the world.
We went into the second movie knowing that we were going to have to just expand the overall scale of the movie, which is all pretty spectacular.
It's very hard
to come up with an idea that is as big as the ideas and unique in the first movie, but didn't feel like it's just the same thing over.
Making a movie is always terrifying, especially for a director, in that you're meeting everyone for the first time, you're feeling each other out, it's awkward, you don't know if they're gonna hate you, you don't know if they've dated anyone you've dated, it's all very complicated.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah!
When you're doing a sequel and you're working with not just people you've worked with, but a group who's worked together, you hit the ground running. You feel safe from day one. They trust you right from the beginning. So you begin with laughing, and you work your way down from there, as opposed to having to work your way up to friendship.
It's a who, Edward Lobley.
Well, I think what's key in making a sequel is getting your same talent behind the camera as in front of the camera. Since we got John Turteltaub back and the same writers who worked on the first movie to come back and take another attempt at making even a better sequel, Book of Secrets.
Was it pre-colonial, or wouldn't we say pre-Columbian?
Just when they give you a note and you're just starting to put it in, they give you another note.
What was wrong with how it was?
And then you got to get the same actors in front of the camera, and that's key.
These movies only work, and when I say these movies, I mean sequels, if you bring the group back together.
Nice to see you two together again.
Getting to work with John Boyd again and Justin and Diane definitely was like going back down memory lane and seeing old friends.
All of us would say we became really close friends, you know, as close as you become friends on a movie set. And doing this all over again is really, truly a lot of fun. It's fun to see how everybody has evolved or changed in their personal life. There's a lot of catching up, and it just feels like we're picking up where we left off.
Making a sequel's tricky business. It's not as big a no-brainer as some people might think it is. You have to be very careful. You want to make that sequel and deliver something people are actually hoping to see. If you'll excuse me, I have a movie to direct.
Hi, guys! That's it. Dismount the bounty stop.
John Turteltaub was not known for his adventure films. He was known for his comedies and his dramas. So he really cut his teeth on the first one. He said, well, this is kind of fun. Maybe we should up the ante on the second one. So he certainly did.
John Turteltaub was one of the wittiest men you will ever meet, and he's delightful. His immediate instinct is to tell a joke. Therefore, he keeps it very light.
The set is extraordinary. When it gets cut out, we're going to feel horrible. In this particular film, we were so unprepared to start shooting this movie when we started shooting this movie. People often think, oh, someone writes a script, it's done. Then you go prepare, you're done preparing. You shoot, you're done shooting. It doesn't work that way. It's all happening at once. You're constantly rewriting as you're preparing, and we're a little bit in that boat right now. Wilkinson has the letter from Pike to the Queen, from Queen to Pike, that has that third part of the puzzle.
He has no idea what the hell
I'm doing great. Stop it. It's great.
I'm an objective outsider. I'm following it.
I edit well. Wait till you see this in October.
A movie like this, that's basically a puzzle, and the puzzle has to work backwards and forwards, and then it has to connect to history. So it's very hard to make that work, and you have to spend a lot of time working it and reworking, so that process always runs up to shooting and through shooting.
We knew we were making National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets, coming out December 21st. That was about it. From there, we had to start writing and figuring it out as we go. We didn't finish the writing before we started the shooting.
There are days where literally it isn't until action that we actually know what the dialogue is going to be. And what it does is it creates this spontaneous anxiety that you can't help but find a solution.
I think it should say the Eagles hold it. I agree. Only a cast that trusted each other, felt safe with each other, felt safe with Jerry and with me, could leap in. So everyone not only worked together, but they were really great at coming up with story ideas, particularly if it made their own character look great.
We should change it.
Emily's one of the best. We can't find anyone else.
Yeah, we won't find anyone. Just short notice.
And it's short notice.
Yeah, we won't get anyone else.
Okay, that's good. So?
Yeah, one more change. Jerry had one more change. Tell him to bring my flash drive back.
Okay, see you guys later.
Thanks, Jerry.
Good night.
Working with Jerry is sort of miraculous. I mean, I'm still somewhat mystified by it because it's like no-net productions. It's you're on a high wire. But each and every time, something good comes out of it.
By him going through that one light, is that the red light that he's running? Yeah. So you're missing the red light is what you're missing.
He has a sense of the audience better than anyone I've ever spoken to.
That's good. That's funny.
Okay, good.
He knows what people want to see when they're just going to the movies.
And that's one thing that Jerry, I think, is really one of the keys to his success over the years, is that eye for making sure that the movie is the best it can be and making all those right choices.
You know, we make these things in a kind of a vacuum. We have nobody telling us what's right and what's wrong. It all comes from instinct and talented people being around us. So you're always pleasantly surprised when they're excited by a movie.
What's interesting about the National Treasure sort of movies versus a lot of other big adventure films is the plot needs to be complicated enough to be up to the level of the puzzle-solving wits of the lead characters.
That's another thing about this movie. The movie is smart. There's clever stuff in it, you know, all the way through. They want something that's fun, but they also want something that's clever. That's what these movies are.
Fantastic.
In the first movie, the clues were all around us. In this movie, the clues were all around the world.
National Treasure 1 was a movie that was dealing with domestic locations, and this one is international all the way, and I like that.
This new installment, The Book of Secrets, we go to London and to Paris and kind of interesting things that we didn't really approach before, especially in foreign countries.
There are scenes in France and England, and also in different locations in America, which we haven't been to before. All real locations. These are all places that we actually went, and somehow Jerry Bruckheimer and our director, John Turteltaub, got permission to shoot in these places, which is very hard to do.
You know, we're shooting guns outside Buckingham Palace. We're doing chase scenes. We're here in Paris shooting on the Seine River. We're in Washington, D.C., in front of the Capitol. You just got to keep asking and keep pushing. And when it's done, you end up with this beautiful representation of all these great places the world has to offer.
Between Jerry and the director, there's no boundaries. So from our standpoint, our job is to turn those pages into reality. And obviously, this is a movie about shooting in places that we say we're in.
There's no point in faking it when the real thing looks so good.
Vive la France!
Being in Paris was lovely.
This as the prop, as a possibility?
I think so, yes. I think that one looks much better. It's more fun to watch Riley holding it.
Right, I would just go with the big one.
Just don't land it in the Seine.
Yeah, just don't crash it.
Wobbly had to leave a clue somewhere on here. Move in on the torch.
Let me get there.
If you're going to go shoot a scene in Paris, you have to make sure people know it's Paris, or else why'd you go? So you get into the corny stuff of you want to see the Eiffel Tower. You could always just stick an Eiffel Tower in the background, but we were like, no, let's go. That's what this movie does. We found an extraordinary place where there is a full, perfect Statue of Liberty in the middle of the Seine River with the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's as if someone built it for us. It's great looking.
Only 2 days in Paris. One scene, 2 bridges, 1 river. Good to go.
On parle pas de statue là-dedans. Yeah, he's right. There's no mention of statue. You two start going, and he's all hurt because he wants to be your partner.
Well, the closest one would be in London at Buckingham Palace. Riley, how fast can we get there?
I don't know. When I ask your new best friends. Tu peux appeler un taxi et tu leur dis qu'ils les traitent pas comme des touristes, okay?
I got a kick out of talking to some of the actors in French. People treated us really well. We had a great time.
Well done in Paris. Thank you for Paris.
Shooting in London, instead of giving the normal 1 week notice where we're going to shoot, it's at least a month. You need to know exactly what you want to do. And we got to shoot action scenes and gunshots and car chases, not something that they're big on.
It's kind of interesting when you spend time in London and get to see Buckingham Palace, and we shot in some fabulous locations there.
I love London, and it's nice to be back in Europe after 4 months, you know, all over the place.
We're in London. We're going to Buckingham Palace.
It's called Buckingham Palace, and this is where we keep our #1 national treasure, the Queen.
Background! Action! Action!
I try to have an international mind when I look at the world. When I go to different places, I try to understand the customs and be a part of the community somehow. I know I'm a visitor, but I try to embrace that.
Whee!
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
One of the places that we found to shoot in was an old palace, literally a block from Buckingham Palace. It is next door to the residence of Prince Charles. The changing of the guard ceremony was happening right next to us. We were told one day, would it be okay? Prince Harry can see us from his window, who says he might want to come out onto the set and meet everybody. We were right there.
We're right in the heart of St. James's, right outside St. James's Palace and Clarence House, which is the residence of Prince Charles and his family.
This is Cleveland Road, and these are government buildings and offices, but they would have been residential at one time. Lancaster House is the Duke of York's residence, or would have been. But he doesn't want to live there.
I'm a police officer at Buckingham Palace, and today we're just securing the entry and exit points for Lancaster House.
Security is very tight, and we have to be very careful about what we're doing. In fact, they're needing all the people we're putting in uniform and who we're putting on the site.
Well, all the crew have gone through full sort of police checks. Could I ask you just to have your photographic ID ready, please? Thank you, sir. That's involved something like 300 checks through the police computer, and I've sadly not everyone made it.
We've shot a lot in the City of London, which is the financial centre of town, but principally there we've only been allowed to shoot at the weekends. In the main, we're pretty much limited to weekends for shooting on the street in Westminster and in the City of London, simply because we're doing a lot of stunt work and the nature and the size of the production.
We've had a beer truck coming down the tight alleyway. We're about to, I think, smash into this little electric car and take a few scooters out. Let's see what happens at the end of that mix.
We had to take all the batteries out, which is most of the weight of the vehicle. It's the child seat. Yeah. It's the child seat.
How easy I do is he just hits that with his rear end, flops over, all that way. He comes by.
Best of luck to you all.
Yes.
On this camera, put a straight 85 on so I can just set a deep stop and a hyperfocal distance if we can get there.
Which stops right here to let Nick go through and the truck go through.
My front two cars just don't go through. I'll get two cars through, then I'll have my car stop.
Assume the taxis and all the cars are stopped because all these people are running out into the street.
So we'll just get rolling before we can stop and turn around and come into a stop mark. So there is movement.
Right.
Go to Washington, D.C., I'm telling you, it's as beautiful as any city in the world. And we got lucky. We got there when the cherry trees were blossoming. When they're blossoming, Washington takes on a whole other character. Sparkly white and pink flowers everywhere. But the craziness we all feel about how bureaucracy and government work, just go to Washington for 10 minutes. We wanted to shoot in front of the White House. Going onto the White House property? Possible. Standing on the sidewalk? No. Working in the street? No problem. Walking across the street away from the White House? No. Walking a block away? No problem. It's all really weird. But all of us basically kept saying, keep going until you see a little red dot on your chest. As soon as you see a little red dot on your chest, run.
Move back! Move back!
As soon as that was done, we raced over to the front of the Capitol, or the back of the Capitol, depending on your point of view, and shot a scene with Harvey Keitel and Nick Cage at the little duck pond, beautiful spot, with the Capitol as your backdrop. And its familiarity makes it even more interesting to look at, because you can't believe how much it looks like the Capitol. With all the amazing places we went, the least likely suspect became our favorite. There seems to be something a lot more exotic in saying we're going to Paris than saying we're going to South Dakota. Oh, my Lord. We all fell in love with South Dakota.
Yeah, having never been to Mount Rushmore, it was really kind of exciting for me to go there and expose myself to things I've only seen in pictures and in films.
I think they're very beautiful portraits, very cleverly shaped in the mountain, and you know, the suggestion of glasses, and then just the look is quite majestic and really represents, I think, the souls of these guys.
I mean, there was something about that place, and Mount Rushmore I'd never been to. Shooting there was really wonderful.
It's a really extraordinary part of the world. I mean, Mount Rushmore was fine. You know, it's an amazing man-made achievement, but the power of the natural world around Mount Rushmore I found much more affecting.
The Black Hills were unique to me. They were very, very special because it's a sacred area and still something of a secret. I don't think people realize how beautiful that is in our own backyard.
There's an enormous amount of culture, American culture, not just the Americana in the West and the ruggedness of it, but the Native American culture, which is not about studying the past. It's very present in South Dakota. It has a historical aspect, it has a visual aspect, it has an extraordinary environmental and natural aspect, and a spiritual aspect. None of us could help but become more and more aware of it. Everybody who went to Paris or London said, wow, this is great, I'd love to come back here, visit. We were looking at houses in South Dakota.
If only it were that easy.
I hope people will walk away from this one thinking it's bigger and more fun to watch, and it takes them on a journey around the world, really, and go with us on this treasure hunt, which is, I think, a lot more exciting than the first one.
The connection of U.S. history to French history or British history plays out in the movie.
And it's definitely inspired the performances, being in these places, giving us all a little jolt.
That was brilliant.
Flap it.
Let's get ready to go, folks. The most exciting moment of the movie. And action!
It's the only way we've been waiting all day to say this.
Action!
Yes! Got a problem with that?
We can't wait. I want to steal the president's stuff.
Going to arrest a man for that? Going to detain us?
I'm up for it, are you?
Wouldn't it have been easier for us to just... Wouldn't it...
I'm just so excited. I can't wait. I'll give it to you. Go ahead. I just want to get in that water and start kidnapping.
I say we move on.
Copy that.
He's dead.
O'Laughlin met with a group of men that night. That's what he did. What else did he do?
Parlez-vous français?
Merci, Monsieur Gates. Monsieur Gates.
Come on, get your passport. You're going to Paris.
Walters, W-A-L-T-E-R-S, just like the Barbara. Okay.
Oh, my God!
What in the Sam Hill is going on?
Oh, my God, I'm good.
Yes!
Oh, my God!
Not only was that a perfect toss, Curtis didn't even have to move. It literally landed right in his lap.
I do all my own stunts. I'm like Jackie Chan.
You know the outtakes at the end of every Jackie Chan movie? That's every take of Justin Bartha.
What did you say?
I said you were great, and you remind me of a big action hero.
Why do I get the feeling you're lying?
The president's secret? Buck.
It exists.
No. And then I come around here and I could do like this. Pow, and there it is. Here. 2, 3, 7, 9, 2, 9, 1.
I think it's time for me. No, let's keep going.
To Lady Liberty.
So you're saying that there's a treasure map on the Statue of Liberty? Are you saying that there is a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence?
Mr. Gates' Statue of Liberty wasn't even built when that cipher was decided.
Yeah, Ryle. It's the real thing.
And cut it.
A man.
I think I know who you're talking about. He's a handsome man. Thank you.
Only has one lifetime, Abigail. Don't ever forget that.
It's an urban legend.
Is it Abigail?
It's
Hold on, let me do that again.
Good.
Is it
it's
Abigail? Is it Abigail?
It's totally.
Let's go.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a giant gold head.
No, that's I can't think of the word. Not a prophecy, thank you. Sorry, can we keep rolling?
It's a what?
I said it's a giant gold head. Hold on. You're gonna have to read it yourself. And there's only one place you can do that. It's my book.
Got one more for son, John?
We need to find the noble will and pass over the bird nobly.
The noble bird!
Cut!
We have it.
Good.
I think it's really fun to see a car chase in London. I haven't seen one in movies in a long time. It's great always to watch a car scene set in an interesting place. It's not just the cars, it's where the cars are driving. But it really is exciting in the movie.
Okay, I'll drive.
We're in England.
It's kind of interesting when you spend time in London, and we shot at some fabulous locations there and had an amazing car chase, which really ups the ante in this picture.
They decided on doing the chase here in London. We knew how logistically challenging it would be, and we even at one point started considering what other countries in Europe we could double for London that might make it a little easier. Obviously, this is a movie about shooting in places that we say we're in.
It's all been in London, which is a hell of a tall order, because when you do shoot in town, you've only got a certain time to lock off. A lot of the streets you can't lock off, so everyone has to know exactly where they're starting and where they finish. So everything has to be rehearsed. It's why we picked the runway at Bovingdon.
Bovingdon basically was just all the rehearsals with the truck and the Range Rover all doing its thing. We'd just be rehearsing each section, each sequence. We set up codes and measurements exactly the same as London. Doing all the precision driving and the near misses, and it's mad, it's great.
We had 5 weeks rehearsals and we just tested every day, solidly every day. I know what surface was good for the car, what tyres, what compounds, what tyre pressures, how deep and how fast we needed to come into each corner. I mean, the only thing we were missing on the rehearsals were the places where we make the contact, and we saved that for the day. But we marked all of those places. Just got it so that when we came in, we just rolled into the location and everyone knew where they were going and slotted into place really quickly.
I like the chasing bits, everything we're doing here in London, you know, being in the car and being thrown around. That's really fun.
Nick, who's doing most of the driving, is pretty fantastic. I mean, he's done a few car movies.
I like to drive, but driving on the other side is complicated. It's definitely not something I recommend without spending some time here first and getting comfortable with the road.
The guys that he works with are also unbelievable stunt drivers. We just shot this thing the other day where I was in the passenger seat and Nick's stuntman was driving because it was a very dangerous stunt, and I didn't really know that it was dangerous. We were going through these tiny streets in London, almost hitting trees, and at the end of the take, I look at this guy like I didn't even know that it was possible that we could drive like that.
They don't want me to be too clean with the driving, so wherever I can overcook the corners and make the arse fishtail out, that's been great. St Paul's, that's where when I slide off the road through a load of priests.
It was early on in the schedule and it was second unit only, but nevertheless it was a big shoot. We needed to control one of the biggest tourist sites in London for a whole day. We shut the roads around it. We had lighting cranes in there, 400 extras, all dressed as priests. We had to control the whole of the West Front, which is the big entrance of St Paul's. It's a big shoot.
I had fun yesterday doing a little driving in the Range Rover. That was kind of fun, swerving around. That's pretty much what we're doing here. I mean, that's the bulk of what we're shooting in London is this car chase through the streets of London, which involves a big beer truck with kegs of beer and Range Rovers and taxis and buses and all kinds of stuff happening.
Well, with the beer truck, we've got the chase going on, and there's a lot of gunfire which releases the back of the truck. All the beer kegs start to pour out, and they're just going off and leaking beer and smashing into all the cars, going into all the pedestrians on the side of the road, through shop windows, through phone boxes, and also the smashing of the police cars. You know, it's absolute carnage. It's like the Blues Brothers all over again, but in London, which no one ever thought could happen, you know? And we have smashed loads.
This is a fuller's truck, it's a beer truck. It's loaded with beer barrels, half foam, half fiberglass. So what we've done, we've basically built the whole back of the truck from scratch. We've put devices in that fire beer barrels up in the air, which are basically just like a water cannon. We fill with like a beer substance and like a foam just to give you that beer look. We've got 3 different releases on it, so we can let like 20 barrels off at a time, and then 40, and then another 20. The truck holds 200 kegs, 204 kegs, so we're probably going to leave 40 of them on there, but the rest should be falling off as we go. And most of them, as I say, are foam, so that when they hit the cars, they don't damage the cars. The mechanism for releasing the gate is literally just a ram underneath on a cable, and we fire it from the cab, and that just releases the gate. And that's basically this effect.
How many rounds of each? 2. Right, I'll give you a loaded gun now, sir. That'll fire next time you pull the trigger.
The roll, it's not this actual cab, we've got one specially made, which we call a cannon. And it's got a roll cage in it, all the glass has been tempered with, so it's all safe. I'll have pads on, we'll have the barrels in certain positions, I'll go along 30 mile an hour, 40, as fast as I can really. Bit of that, left and right, cameras will be set, and then I'll hit a button which shoots out a metal pole out the bottom of the cab, which has been rigged in here, which is inside, and it will just flip me over. As I turn into it, it will flip me. They don't want to roll, they're looking for more of a flip over, but then a slide. Morning. Yeah, it's perfect. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roll cameras.
Speed.
Action.
The baddie, Seth Wilkinson, who was in a taxi, he steals a beer truck for the rest of the chase sequence, so it's like using a battering ram in London.
I'm just about to drive the Scania truck through the traffic lights, which will actually turn red, and there will be a post office van coming from the opposite direction, blocking my path, so I actually get to get a collision with him, hopefully push him out the way. The cabs are reinforced, so I should be okay. I think it's the guy in the post office van. What's that? He needs to be worried.
Today we're middle of the car chase. We've taken over an alley that before we got here was just buildings.
It's breakaways, it's street corners, it's lamps that smash. We built everything in aluminium, all the lamps break away, and plastic, all the signage break away. We hope that they don't take out the shops because we don't have a piece for those.
We've dressed it as a kind of a quaint London alleyway where our heroes kind of thought they've escaped the bad guys, and as they're going, they basically see the running of the bulls, and the runnings being the pedestrian and the bull being a big giant beer truck.
A gigantic beer truck, which is driven by one of our villains, comes down and starts taking everything out. No regard for human life, no regard for signage, no regard for tables in the marketplace. He just starts wiping stuff out.
We've got 40 stunt guys,
and 50 extras, and we've got to make that street look as busy as possible. It's a very tricky scenario we're trying to create here and keep it safe. People need exit routes. So once that lorry comes into the top of the alleyway, they can't go out behind it. They have to continue down.
Pretty big deal. I got 9 cameras on this setup. 3 are on the beer truck, 1's in the Mercedes. I got a crane up there, I got a dolly back there, and I've got cameras scattered around the streets.
We probably have done about 14, 15 different setups during the course of the day to shoot this sequence. Those 14 or 15 times the 9 cameras gives you a lot of footage to cut backwards and forth too.
The concept here is to do as much destruction and mayhem as we can in the fastest amount of time, which also happens to be one of our specialties.
This car chase is the biggest one that's ever occurred in London. We've been really lucky in being able to turn some locations around very quickly, and that has helped greatly in actually completing this car chase.
Every single day we've come to work has not been an easy day for us. We've been crushing, bike laydowns, cannons, turnovers. We've been doing, big stunts every single day. So yeah, I'd say it's the biggest. This is definitely the biggest thing I've been involved car chase-wise in London, but you speak to a lot of people and they say this is the biggest car chase that's ever been shot in England, let alone London.
Sorry!
That big old giant screen is actually the White House. Or it will be when I get through with it.
There's a lot of action in this film, a lot more than the first one. And the sets that we did build that obviously didn't exist in real life were just fantastic. I mean, all of the underground kind of cave sequences are beautiful.
Inside of every actor is a little child's heart that it finds these things incredibly exciting.
This was a physical adventure, and the way I talked with Helen, I said, this is fun for us, We get to be very physical. Oh, wow, that'd be wonderful. I can't wait for that. Oh, my good.
The last 45 minutes of the movie are just extraordinary, big action sets, water, caves, mountains, all to make you in awe and at the same time believe you are in a remarkable cave in South Dakota.
We have some unusual action sequences and bigger action sequences than we ever attempted to do on the first National Treasure.
This is the part of the set where they go through the floor. This is the platform that tips down, and it's got padding and blue screen on it now, so that they can slide without getting hung up on the texture of the rock.
The cast is exploring this cave. They come up on what they don't realize is a trap door. The trap door had a pivot point, like right here, and the back of it would actually come up. This is the switch that controls the cylinders that drop the door with the power of hydraulics. It's oil under pressure. We messed around a little bit and we got it to actually go a little bit quicker. I had a box with a slider switch on it, and I would just dump the trap door. It ended up being as fast as it would go. They wanted it quick.
To what degree the actors were willing to perform and literally free fall down this ramp to a bottomless pit, that concerned me. We initially thought that we would rig overhead wires and just do the initial drop and keep them up without rolling. They were all really good sports about the whole thing and very willing, so that evolved to padding this ramp, and they literally rolled down past camera, and we got all those great shots of them.
There was actually 2 different trap doors built in 2 different locations. One was at Disney, and we had an identical trap door where the trap door actually dumps them onto the motion platform.
You fall on this platform, and unfortunately the platform is being held by these ropes, and the ropes break, so this platform is being balanced on a large rock, so our characters have to kind of position themselves on this platform so it doesn't tip over. And if one person moves, somebody has to counterweight that person by moving also. So it becomes a very exciting action sequence where they all could die if they don't work as a team.
A lot of the action was pretty intense. So on a lot of the wider shots, the stunt performers were working with the cast members on doing some of like the actual falling off of the trapdoor and onto the motion platform. But in addition to the stunt performers, the cast was great because Nicolas Cage, Justin Bartha, Diane Kruger, and Ed Harris, they did all of it. They dumped down the trapdoor. Nicolas Cage was actually, he was hanging off the side of the platform, and they really kept the action alive. It was exciting, you know, to have them actually doing it.
That was fun doing all that physical stuff. Nothing was particularly dangerous, but it's fun.
Action stuff can be really fun, and some of it can be, it's very technical, so it doesn't feel like you're actually doing an amazing stunt. It looks way cooler, you know, than what you're actually doing.
As you go, take your steps, it would raise it back up.
The balance beam in the caverns of the Black Hills is this platform that we were all on, which sort of tests the mettle of the people that find them there, whether or not they can survive it or sacrifice or work together to get to the next step in the video game.
When you read in the script, gigantic 24 by 24 square balance chamber that tilts on a central axis, and a writer spent 30 seconds, and you now have to say, how are we going to do that? You then turn around and ask your special effects guy, how are we going to do this? And he then says, oh, that's no problem. I have a Waldo and a gimbal. And you say, oh, that's great. And you turn to the next person and go, what's a Waldo and a gimbal?
The Waldo is the joystick that controls the 6-axis gimbal that we used on National Treasure 2. This is just literally a smaller version of the gimbal. Any move that you make here on the Waldo, it will translate right there onto the gimbal. The gimbal itself looks identical to this in its geometry. It's got 6 hydraulic cylinders that control 2 opposing triangles like the one you see here. So it's one triangle on top of another triangle with the 6 cylinders. Again, each of the cylinders, they're powered by hydraulics, and they have a total stroke of 33 inches. That's this measurement here. So that's how far out the piston could move out of the cylinder.
They had built a giant pyramid with spokes that hold up an extremely heavy 24 by 24 piece of wood. It connects remotely, and as the operator moves it, the entire massive structure moves. It's kind of like giant bionics in some ways.
The gimbal itself was built by my father. It's like a flight simulator, is basically what it is. And so the information I had put through on the Waldo is sent through a computer, which runs off of a system called Cooper.
Why don't we turn the Waldo on?
Okay. Then it is sent back through to the gimbal. Now the Cooper system, it's capable of recording any movement I make too. So if I make a move, the computer operator, Rob Menapace, could record it, he could save it, and we could play it back take for take. Now, what made this job unique and challenging was that it was all live action, so I was actually watching the actors, so when they step, I had to move with it and try to keep it a little bit alive in motion and make it look like it's literally balancing.
You stop that? Hey, what did you do?
We had to build this gimbal, which was enormous in size because it had to support the weight not only of our actors, but this enormous platform. But fortunately for us, it worked brilliantly.
What we liked about the threat of this teetering thing is that it's not just that, oh, you gotta keep balance. You need to use your wits to figure this out, how it's gonna work, and how people can work together to thwart this obstacle on their way to hopefully finding the City of Gold.
It's important for the characters to reconcile with each other and to work together to meet their common objective. Everybody has a common goal. I mean, in this particular case, their common goal is to survive.
You ready? Go.
Well, the City of Gold is something that treasure hunters have been looking for forever, but never found. But Ben in our movie has a way of finding things.
The City of Gold.
Cibola, the 7 cities of gold.
I think it's an ancient myth, this fabulous city of gold.
A city made of gold.
We found the 7 cities of gold, this rumor of the reason why people came to America.
That's what makes it even more exciting than I think National Treasure 1. Native American gold, temples that are all missing, and it's Cibola. The Cibola is the city of gold.
This is real treasure.
The city of gold is supposedly exists somewhere in the North American continent, and little does anyone know where it is.
We found it!
There are lots of things hidden from the general population left to be discovered, especially the city of gold.
It's buried somewhere, which we find under Mount Rushmore, in the tunnels of Mount Rushmore.
I've been telling my friends about all of these amazing caverns underneath Mount Rushmore, and nobody believes me.
We have found the City of Gold, and who would have thought it's on stage 12 at Universal?
Don Watkins, our production designer, went in and designed all that, built it over 12 weeks before the script was finished, and made it all work for the story that we're working on.
Dominic Watkins met with John and with Jerry and got basically their thoughts. We had a few generations of ideas, and using some very, very fine illustrators to flesh those out, think about those, consider those. We eventually got to where we really knew that a city of gold, a true city built physically out of gold, is what it needed to be. From then on, it's been about how do we execute that from a logistical and artistic standpoint within the time frame that we had to really make that as believable as possible.
Every time I walk on one of our sets, and it's particularly these enormous sets that we did for Book of Secrets, you realize the artistry of the technicians in Hollywood and this art that they've passed down since, I guess, the beginning of films. How they create these sets out of styrofoam. They make them look completely real. These sets are spectacular.
The attention to detail and the accuracy of the art department's work is fantastic. It looks exactly like the Rock in South Dakota.
Really amazing sets with water, too. There's water shooting out of different places, exploding up into places.
From artist rendering to miniature model to framework to final set, it's not amazing to see it all happen. It's amazing to see it happen so quickly. We were able to build an entire city of gold in about 8 weeks. The idea of putting rivers and waterfalls on these sets is extraordinary. All to make you both be in awe and at the same time believe you are in a remarkable cave in South Dakota, an undiscovered piece of Native American history that you can believe is there, but you can't believe is that amazing.
I've never seen so many relics, so beautifully preserved.
We basically started by the reality of the region that we are saying. There is no ancient Olmec civilization centered where Mount Rushmore is. So we had to at least believe a civilization could move to that area, and we had to essentially wing it. And the writers had gone back and found that Mayan and Olmec cultures really were about the right period for what they wanted. Architecturally, it is, of course, perfect for us because we know we have examples of Mayan structures. We know we have Olmec structures that are city-like. That is something that can be imagined in gold. That kind of cemented the objective for us.
We used the largest soundstage we could find. It took up more than half of that soundstage. You can imagine the size of some of these Hollywood stages, and this is the biggest, so it was an enormous set.
I mean, this is the back of the set. Actually, if you just take a look at what's going on back here, the steel structure right here that supports the platform, and then all the styrofoam that's up above that. It's just a huge amount of styrofoam. And you can see this is a fire hose here and other water hoses going up into the set so water can come out of it. Yeah, I often look at this and I think, holy cow, that's pretty cool.
It's huge. I mean, no stage in Hollywood could encompass all of it. So we've got the main set here on stage 12. We've got another stage with another part of the cave. And then the entrance to the cave is actually up at the top of the hill at Universal in an outdoor tank. If you put it all together, it's probably one of the biggest sets ever built.
Tom Watkins was given minimum information and told to make maximum sets. We would have to follow his lead. He would say things like, all right, I've built you this little waterfall over here. And then we go, oh, great. And then we go write a little thing that takes place in his waterfall, just to keep all the creativity and the collaboration together.
It's one of those sets that we flooded, and that's the reason people couldn't find it, because it was very difficult to find. Once you find it, it starts to flood.
These are the pools in the City of Gold, and these essentially were based on some reference we had for sorting gold, that these pools would have been where you would have actually cleaned off and sorted things to sort it all. And the water comes from, this is one of our water sources right here for the city. This square shape right here. Water would come out of that, feed all of these ponds, and they're all interconnected, and they all flow down to the bottom of the city to fill the water up.
The water sequences are elaborate, and we were working in them for several weeks. It was fun. You didn't have to act, but at the same time, well, what can I say? I don't think anybody was entirely comfortable with it.
It's sort of fun for a day, and then you're over the water after a week. But, it looks really cool, so, I guess it's fun to be part of it.
There's this weird line between you're going to put the actor through something way too hellish to experience, and you're going to put the actor through something really, really fun. Then all of a sudden, they get into it, and they want to do more, and they want to do more, and the challenges are bigger, and I don't need a stuntman, I don't need a stuntman. And then after about 5 days of it, it's enough already. And they're like, okay, that was fun, but I'm tired of being soaking wet, and it starts to get a little bit taxing. Remember, the actor also cares most about telling the story and getting the character right. If all of this stuff helps do that, it's really fun for an actor.
We all kind of came to the decision that wherever action was going to play, wherever the actors had to interact, would have to be a practical set. Everything you see beyond this set will be a digital recreation.
Increasingly, we're building less and less, but for certain kinds of sequences, like things with physical water and certain other kinds of action, it still makes a great deal of sense to build real, physical, tangible sets that actors can interact with rather than blue screen.
When we're doing a digital set extension like this, it's best to have as much as possible practically shot on film. It gives us lighting direction, it gives us color direction. Obviously, it helps the actors and the director as well because they have something to interact with. So it's kind of win-win for everybody to build as much and photograph as much as possible.
The communication between Dominic and Asylum as a visual effects company started from the get-go. We can all sit there together and decide what does get built, and then what doesn't get built, what can be map paintings or what can be 3D environments, and what would the camera actually see.
All the way over here to the left, that's the edge of the set that we built. Where it's black, that will be computer generated.
If you look around, we have a very large black screen that's going around the entire set. It's marked up with what we refer to as tracking markers, which will allow us to recreate the camera move in the computer.
So everything you see in yellow here is actually live action, and everything in gray here is CG extension. Of course, the city got bigger than this in the end. During production, they decided that they wanted an entire courtyard and a whole row of buildings, a street, a bustling city back in its day, and so we just kept making buildings and pushing them back. It's entirely CG. There's no match to live action. You got to see these buildings, unfortunately, much closer than they'll get seen in the movie.
In the City of Gold, there's a scene where Riley is trying to take a little gold brick along with him. And the set piece didn't have the exact reflective qualities that John desired for that. So what we did is digitally recreated that brick. And then we had a lot of control over the amount of dirt that was on it, the amount of reflectivity that it had. And it's a very, very complicated thing. It's deceptively complicated to put something digitally in somebody's hands and make it look like they're actually holding it. We had to put a tremendous amount of detail into that particular sequence.
And we added all the rock caves. There was all kinds of water effects added on top and all kinds of debris. All the little bits and pieces had to be added, and then there was all kinds of particle effect stuff done on top of that. And then we also had to do CG enhancement to the live action set as well.
Digital effects are fantastic, and you can do a lot of beautiful things with them, but I think the audience still needs something real to grab onto.
Sometimes you think with all the CGI, all the digital stuff that's going on, that some of the physical sets will lose our talent for making those big sets. And I like the combination of the sets and the CGI artistry. And in this movie, this craft is very much in evidence. It's great old Hollywood set making.
From pre-production, when we knew we were going to use this stage until now, what's been accomplished, it's a great feeling. And it is the people who have participated in making this possible, who no one will ever see, are extraordinary. And this is a huge sense of accomplishment for many, many, many people.
3, 2, 1. Beautiful, thank you.
The Knights of the Golden Circle was a Southern extremist group operating in the North
to subvert Union forces.
The Masonic-influenced Knights of the Golden Circle was, I would say, different from the Revolutionary War masonry that existed that was highlighted in National Treasure 1, which was Washington and Franklin. But during Lincoln's time, Lincoln knew he was up against a Masonic cabal that was fomenting secession.
The Knights of the Golden Circle was an extreme group of the Confederates that did want to sort of annex South America and make it Mexico and make it a slave nation.
They wanted to have a giant circle, hence Knights of the Golden Circle, that extended from the center point of Havana throughout the south and the southwest of the United States, down through Mexico, Venezuela, and around, as a separate, autonomous economy that was based on slave labor.
The Knights of the Golden Circle were a secretive, spy, and underground organization who did not want to accept the end of the Civil War. And they were serious about this. And there were hundreds of thousands of them.
The KGC were looking for ways to finance their operation, even after the end of the war. And Booth gave a tremendous amount of his own money in real life to the cause. And they needed more, because they weren't done.
The war has only just begun.
My great-great-grandfather was trying to prevent the Knights of the Golden Circle from getting their hands on a treasure that they could use to fund a rebellion.
The rebel gold that was hidden, which is the name of our book, came from a variety of sources. Almost all of it was stolen from the U.S. government, from arsenals, from Fort Knox type places that they had kept some of this stuff. And then after the war, by the KGC's field operatives, the likes of Jesse James and his gang and other gangs related to it, they would hit U.S. payrolls that were, traipsing through Arizona or New Mexico and steal the money. Where did that money go? Nobody ever heard about where the money that Jesse James took went. It went underground.
It's known that the Confederate treasury disappeared just before the end of the Civil War. Many treasure hunters believe that it is the largest treasure in the United States. It is only a wild guess as to how much might be there, but it's been estimated into the many billions of dollars.
Had Thomas not burned those pages, the KGC may have gotten their hands on that gold.
Luckily for this country, the Knights of the Golden Circle did not succeed in restarting a second Civil War, but it came close to happening.
Our family stopped the KGC from funding their war. We're a family of patriots.
There is a book, and it has the information you need. The President's Book of Secrets. A collection of documents for President's eyes only.
It contains all of our nation's secrets.
We gotta find that book.
There's this book that's been passed down from George Washington to George Bush, but nobody talks about it, and that's the Book of Secrets.
The Book of Secrets is a president's book.
There is no Book of Secrets.
In that book is all the answers to anything you've ever wondered about.
Literally, it is a compilation of documents that all the presidents of the United States have added to.
Which has all the president's secret since the beginning of American history.
There's no book.
The Book of Secrets is probably a myth.
What book?
But yes, I believe that there is a lot of information passed from one president to the next.
It's kind of a famous conspiracy in a sense of what does it exist, does it not exist? And if it does it hold all of the nation's biggest secrets?
Area 51.
Roswell.
Kennedy assassination.
Cibola itself. Everything that has gone down is in that secret book, and it's been documented.
I actually know all the answers to those things. So if anybody really wants to know this stuff, just call me.
I have to find the book, and I have to kidnap the President of the United States for him to give me the information as to where I could get the book.
And I think in this case, we make it fun.
There's no Book of Secrets. Next question. No Book of Secrets. Okay.
Haven't you always thought that there's a bunch of stuff that only the president knows, and that when he becomes president or she becomes president, they get filled in on all these super secret things that aren't for public's knowledge and only that secret group of people know? I've always thought that. Everyone I know always thinks that. It's probably true. There's got to be a lot of stuff that they need to know that they believe you don't need to know. If all of that's contained in one book, boy, wouldn't you love to see that book?
I'm sure there's a version of this book somewhere. It might not be from every president, but I'm sure there are secrets that have been passed down that every president, when he comes into office, wants answered.
Our story says, yeah, that book's there. And in that book is some of the secrets that our characters need to know in order to find this treasure.
This is the president's book.
Love that.
So basically, this is my idea of the front of the book. Nice, dark age patina with, this is the original Great Seal of the United States. So I'd like to put this in the front of the book.
My worry is I don't think we're going to see this. I think it's going to be really hard to ever see that. And I think this is going to stand out and look better.
Well, the one thing we can do, we can lighten up the age of the book. We can certainly do the gold stamping. So would you prefer to have it stamped?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Now, as far as the size of the book, we just took this book as a relative, thickness.
And this is like a scrapbook, basically, is what the book should be.
Exactly.
Written.
Well, basically, that's what all of this is up here. These are all of our entries from the different presidents, and these are actually in their actual handwriting. We've copied their exact styles. We have samples of them all. So basically, we just take these and put them in the book. The actual Book of Secrets. It's got the presidential seal right there, and that's the scroll with the backwards head. Our idea is every one of our presidents has written an entry in this book. So we started with a George Washington page, and he's the very first one. They've shown this in the book, and then every president has some kind of an entry in the book. And we basically got sample calligraphy from every single president and then made up a little story for what every president would have written in the book.
I did the calligraphy in the Book of Secrets. I did all of the president's handwriting in the book, and George Washington would have written with iron gall ink. I didn't write with a quill, but I wrote with a steel nib pen like George Washington would have written with. So depending on the time period, I'd actually write with the type of tool and ink that they would have written with.
It's for the president's eyes only, and it's things that he would have put in there that no one else would have ever seen other than the next president. So we kind of wrote something some kind of a secret that he would have put in the book. So we did a little bit of research and just put those kinds of things in there.
Where's the president's book kept?
Only the current president knows. The only way you'll ever see that book is if you get elected president.
The following conversation never happened. The book exists. We're in the Library of Congress. It's an historic building. It's a historic place for all our great literature and everything about this country and around the world, and it's fantastic for National Treasure, Book of Secrets, to be able to come here.
Maybe the most extraordinary buildings in the world are St. Peter's Church, St. Paul's Cathedral, and the Library of Congress.
Gates abducts the president, lets him go, and then heads to the Library of Congress? Why?
Maybe he wants to check out a book.
Welcome to the Library of Congress.
We don't know in this country how extraordinary this building is. You walk in there and you realize that there is a true extraordinary treasure dedicated to education and knowledge and history. Without a library, without knowledge, we're useless.
Hello, I'm Nicolas Cage, and I'm visiting you from the Library of Congress.
It's an amazing place. It's just enormous and gives you a real sense of history when you're in there.
You can't help but feel the history, and that's why the Library of Congress is so wonderful, because it piques my interest in history that I didn't even have before.
Great work. This is not your usual library. The atmosphere here is truly astonishing.
Well, we're standing in the Great Hall of the Library of Congress. This building was finished in 1897. It was very much a symbol of America arriving on the world cultural scene. This is to Washington what the Paris Opera is to Paris. And you could spend a day here and not cover everything.
There's more stored knowledge here and more formats of knowledge and creativity than there's ever been under one institution. It's a great inspirational as well as a functionally useful place to do research on almost any subject about anything.
Where do we start?
This way. We'll have to sneak in.
We're in the main control room. We're right under the main reading room, a gorgeous room in the Library of Congress. It's kind of a hub of activity. We get about 12 to 1,500 books a day, new additions to the general collections. And they come here, we sort them, we arrange them, and send them off to be shelved in the stacks. We're going to enter what are called the South Stacks. It's 10 levels of book stacks.
Each of these levels has a capacity of about 90,000 volumes.
My job is to bring in documents. We only collect the original material and only the personal papers of significant people, those who have made a contribution to American life and culture. This is for manuscripts, one custodial division. There are others for music, for maps, for prints and photographs.
We have the most extensive scientific laboratory here as well. We do a lot of research and testing in order to be able to characterize our materials so that we will know how they deteriorate. And that way we will know how better to preserve them for the future.
The three things that a library has to do: it has to acquire material, it has to preserve it, and it has to share it, make it accessible.
This is just the conveyor loop, and it connects the center desk in the main reading room with the control room. So if a reader has requested any kind of library material, it comes to this location from the stacks in this building or the stacks in one of our other buildings. We put them on this conveyor system. When books are put on down there, they come up here. We remove them here, and we deliver them to the reader at their seat number in the reading room.
The Library of Congress. It's the biggest library in the world. Over 20 million books.
The first time we were here, we were in this great reading room, but now we've got a lot more, and so we're traveling a bit more throughout the library. There are so many little places to go, including the stacks, where you just have millions and millions of books. It's a whole system that's been in here for, decades of how to bring books up, how to shuttle things around. There's no way to know what's here until you come here.
Welcome to the Prints and Photographs Division at the Library of Congress. We're holding about 14 million pictures, spanning centuries of visual information.
The library is collected very heavily on both sides of the brain. We have the documentary images, but we also have fine art and everything in between. We go back Dürer, Rembrandt, pre-photography, visual communication before photography. We have very well documented here too.
We have the longest surviving portrait photograph, Robert Cornelius. And it may be the first. Can't prove that completely. It's one of the top treasures, the oldest portrait photograph.
Your movie is about the people who killed Lincoln. So here in the Civil War photograph collection, you have the Lincoln conspirators, John Wilkes Booth, one of his co-conspirators, Lewis Payne, and the hanging of the four conspirators in the Navy Yard in Washington in the summer of 1865. We have about 14 million pictures in the collection, and 1 million are already available online through the internet, through the catalogs.
We have virtually every important kind of document, anything from coded notes between Madison and Jefferson in numeric codes to a telegram from a commander in Pearl Harbor saying this is the real thing, like this is for real. Jefferson's draft of the Declaration of Independence, 2 copies of the Gettysburg Address, Madison's original notes on the Constitution, a copy of the Bill of Rights that was sent to the states. We have about 60 million documents here.
Now, there's a requirement. If you are President of the United States, you must be a surveyor. We have 12 maps by George Washington, original manuscript pieces here. This is George Washington's map of Alexandria, Virginia. Now, we have maps when he was 15, and we have maps made 2 months before he died. Now, 2 months before he died, he was still working on his Mount Vernon estate.
I thought you might want to take a look at this.
This is a map of Mount Vernon drawn by George Washington himself.
That is exactly what it is.
The Geography and Map Division is the largest map library in the world. We have 5.5 million maps, 80,000 atlases, 500 globes, 3,000 raised relief images, and 20,000 CDs and DVDs of digital files, cartographic files. This is an atlas made in Venice in 1544, and it's on skin, on vellum. It's all manuscript again. These are all handmade. The earliest piece that we have an example of is 5,000 years old for the Tigris-Euphrates River region.
XY is the book classification code.
It stands for special collections, which means very, very special books. Where are they?
This way. We'll have to sneak in.
This is one of the great treasures that we have in the library. It's the Bay Songbook. And this was printed in Massachusetts in 1640. And it's the first book that was printed in North America. This book was not only printed, but it was bound in the colonies. It's a book of Psalms, and it's called the Bay Songbooks because it was printed for the Massachusetts Bay Colony. There's enormous demand to see this book because it's #1 in and the top 100 pieces of Americana. So we have to take really good care of it.
We have a long history of working with traditional materials like vellum and parchment and paper and books and leather and those kinds of materials. And we try to be able to know exactly what things are made of so we'll know how they deteriorate. Also, it helps us to know if they're authentic or not. We have a lot of analytical equipment here, and one of the things we have that is very useful is a multispectral camera, which allows us to look at materials under infrared light and under ultraviolet light, and that will tell us things that you can't see with the naked eye.
Look at this. See that?
It says smudge.
It is tremendously important that we preserve the historical legacy of our own country and indeed of as much of the world's creativity and history as possible.
This isn't about a stuffy library. This is great mysteries and extraordinary little pieces of information. Who put all these books here? Look at these little tiny spaces and rooms. Who knows what's in all of this? And you also get a sense that this is Congress's library. Everything that anyone needs to know is here. So it's just sort of like a mysterious place that is just filled with intrigue and suspense, and you don't know. You say, okay, libraries are boring? Not really.
It makes you want to come here. It makes you want to see the Library of Congress. It makes you want to spend time here and sit in those chairs and read some of the wonderful things that are in this building.
It's not just that it's available, but that it's available forever. And that's kind of what you want from your kind of government library, that they're going to look after the eternity of things.
The idol drop was awesome. Nicolas Cage's character was the last one on the platform. They figure out that if they roll the idol over, it'll roll down and it'll pivot the platform and give Nicolas Cage a chance to jump up off of it. You know, we had the gimbal all the way up over, trying to get it to land on the platform at all. It was a rubber idol, but it was still pretty heavy, so it would roll off and it would bounce off the corner here and it would land and smash some of the electrician's lights. And that happened more than once. But finally, on the last one, it was like the stars were in line because it landed on the platform. It rolled perfectly down the side, and Eddie, Nicolas Cage's his stunt double, runs up the platform, jumps over the idol, and is able to jump up into the cave and grab on, and it was awesome. It was perfect.